Mike, turn your games down.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 265 of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and who is going Charlotte with me tonight?
Yet another Belmont, Kerry, Chandler, Carusetta on Twitch and YouTube.
Michael Colby from Jack Billings Presents Haunted Apartment Complex. Hi.
Welcome. And you guys are here to join me to talk about another Castlevania game, an episode that we pretty much forced into existence when we did Dawn of Sorrow last year. We're going to talk about Castlevania Portrait of Ruin, that developed by Konami, published by Konami, came out Nintendo DS only, still, in 2006, and is forever locked to that system, unfortunately, as of now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the whole reason we did this is after we did Dawn of Sorrow, Mike had very mean words to say about this game. So I was like, well, we're going to cover it in the show and see if his opinion changes.
Spoiler alert, it did not.
I don't understand. I mean, so for those that don't know, this is a Metroidvania game, Igavania, if you want to call it. It's essentially this Castlevania 2D side-scroller game where you explore things. Metroidvania. There you go. Same thing. But this one is a sequel to Castlevania Bloodlines, which came out on the Genesis. This took place during World War I. This one takes place during World War II, where you play as John's son, Jonathan.
Yep.
Dracula's
castle came back, and you're sent to go figure it out. There's a plot.
Yep. And there's a vampire. There's like an artist vampire named Bronner who's using paintings to like do his magic in this one,
which should be very cool.
It is very cool. So I don't know what you're saying. Should be.
It should be very cool, but they just I don't know. It feels like they don't explore the cool parts of the cool stuff that happens in this game. And they just kind of go, oh, well, this is our secondary antagonist. We're going to cram Dracula in here at the end, and we're just sort of going to forget about this.
I mean, that's that's an Igavania tradition, though. That's Symphony of the Night did that with Shaft, and you have that in Aria of Sorrow and Dawn of Sorrow, both. You're fighting a different antagonist, and at the very end, it's like also Dracula.
Yeah, so, but I don't know.
Except for Dawn of Sorrow, I guess not also Dracula, also Chaos. But
yeah, Aria of Sorrow is Chaos because
you are
Dracula.
Right. That's right. You're not fighting. That's true. So I guess it's just Symphony then that does that
with these games to kind of do that. I don't mind that at all. I mean, I like the fact that Dracula shows up. There's also the gimmick of this game is that you have two playable characters, Jonathan and Charlotte. You can switch between at any time, and they have different abilities.
Yeah, and I love this game. I think it's maybe my fourth or fifth favorite Castlevania. I never played it till I played it for this podcast, but I played it. I almost 100%ed it. I had one spell left to collect in New Game Plus when I finally just kind of gave up on farming it because it was really annoying. But otherwise, I would have had 100% everything on it. And I really enjoyed it. And then I played through one of the alternate modes where you play as one of the bosses. But I thought it was a lot of fun. I will say, if your criticism is based on the story, that's probably fair. I've never cared for even a tenth of a second about any Castlevania story ever. I don't even pay attention to the story. I skip all the dialogue, playing these just for the mechanics.
Yeah,
and
but
I have zero interest in the story of Castlevania games. So that is probably fair if that's your problem with it. I can't really say.
Yeah, it is. And that's another thing about this game is that it's playing it is fine. Playing it, I don't really have any problems with. I don't think, it's bad in any way as far as a game goes. But there's also, I could also be playing Symphony of the Night or Aria of Sorrow or even Bloodlines or any Metroid game. There's so many games that I would rather be playing than this, that the interesting stuff that this game does do, it doesn't do enough to make me like the game, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, to me, the big draw of this one is that you're playing as two characters.
Yeah.
And that you're flipping between them constantly, or you can have one following you around, but you have the problem there that their HP is your MP, so you're going to run out of MP if they're constantly getting hit. So you got to kind of be strategic about when you use them. And then you have certain bosses that, you have the one boss does the charm ability that only works on male characters, so you have to play. You might get really used to playing as Jonathan all the time, because playing as Jonathan is basically just Symphony of the... If you're playing just as Jonathan, it's basically Symphony of the Night. Like he does everything that Alucard does except for spells. He has the same. It's the same thing, right? It's right. Except for
his ability to change weapons and do different sub weapons. Yeah,
weapons, sub weapons. You have some.
He
skills.
Jumps the same. He just
he
can't.
Jumps the same. He has the back. He has the back step dodge. He slides. He eventually gets the like
the
space,
Griffin wing.
The space, is it like the space jump or whatever?
Yeah.
He eventually gets that. So it really is just like playing Symphony of the Night if you play just as him. And then Charlotte is basically like Maria mode, more or less, right?
Okay.
Not really, but you know what I mean? Like you're playing as like the wizard character instead.
Spellcaster.
Yeah, the spell. I would say it's not exactly Maria mode, because Maria mode you're just like throwing animals at people. So that's
Maria is like way more powerful than Charlotte, I think.
Well, Charlotte's got some pretty epic spells later on.
Yeah.
There's one thing. How long did it take you guys to figure out that you can charge your spells?
When you put it in the chat.
When I put it in the chat.
It was a while. Yeah. I read it somewhere that I could do it, but it wasn't until you put it in. I'm like, Then I went and finally actually pulled it off. I'm like,
I had no idea that you could do that. Every spell can be charged. They all do different stuff when you charge them. And if you have both the characters out at the same time, when you charge it, it can sometimes do special effects also. The one that got me was the speed. Once you get like the speed boost power that you get at the end of these games, usually.
I never got that.
Oh, so yeah. So
I see it right now, the green one for Charlotte.
It's like a thing you do in these games. Like in Symphony of the Night, it's the upgraded wolf, right? And once you get it, you just run around as a wolf all the time because you can go so fast. And it's the Jaguar power in Arya and Dawn. Is the Jaguar power, and you don't get it till like right before you go to fight the final boss in those games. But it's useful for running around. And this one, you get it a little earlier. But I figured out on New Game Plus is when I finally noticed, hey, wait a minute, I could charge. What if I charge the speed and you just are like, you're like the Flash. You're just like flying around the screen.
That's what I'm seeing right now.
And you also do damage whenever you hit people with it, just like the Jaguar power. So
when we did Dawn of Sorrow, I had a lot of complaints, which were not in this game. Because the choice was taken away from me, thank God, and I was given less choice. And apparently that's what I need in a Castlevania or a Metroidvania game. I don't want choices between like abilities to use. Like this game was like, here's your sub weapons, and for a while I only used just a regular attack because it's me. It wasn't until Kerry posted in the chat, he's like, each boss really has a weakness to a sub weapon or something. And then I started actually looking that up and playing that way in the game way easier. But less choice is a good thing for me.
My favorite was the coconut cream pie or whatever, the cream pie that costs 0 mana. And if you master it, it does like 45 damage, which is not very much, but it's just like you can spam it. And so you just like pie machine gun people.
Really good at that. And
it has like a giant, it's like a flamethrower basically in terms of its like, or a shotgun in terms of its spread. So it's just like hard to miss with. That's fun. That's how I beat Richter. Was just kite him around throwing pies at him.
That's what you're supposed to do, because he's also weakness to it because it does dark damage.
Yes, yep. It's one of your few things that does dark damage.
Unless you master it, then it costs 0 MP, from my understanding.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, also one thing that this game introduced that was new to me is that you have a guy named, what the hell is it, Wind in here, which is a ghost, which is Eric Lecard from Castlevania Bloodline, but now he's been killed, which is awesome that he's in this. And he gives you quests. I also really like that feature. I think this is the first time I've seen it in a Castlevania game.
Yeah, I have complaints about that system, but yes, if you're trying to 100% it, it's annoying because he gives you the quests randomly.
And if you sell the items, the quests never go away. If you sell,
that's why I had to do New Game Plus to get off it, to do off his quests, because I sold all my items really early on just for some money, and then he has quests where it's like, find this item, and there's only one of the item in the game, it doesn't drop. So, but then
figure out what they expect you to do. Is you at the time. You might not believe me, but that feature is gone. There was an online feature you could connect to other players and trade items.
You could trade items, to make it easier. Yep.
But that feature's long gone. So.
Yeah. But his quests, what I don't like about them is it gives you them in random order, and you can only have like 5 active at a time. And so if you just get like 4 that you're not ready for, you just can't do it. You're stuck until you get further in the game, and then it's annoying.
I didn't realize they were that random. At first, I thought there was an order they would do them in, like from the the earlier part of the game that you got farther, you get later. But then I kind of see what you mean.
I think there is some order to it. It seems like, but it's still
You can also unlock one without having, like, if you have an opening slot and you do the quest, you can then it'll open up and you can just, like, I did that for the sub weapon. I just ended up doing the sub weapon before he even asked me to, because Kerry told me about it, and I looked up a bunch of the quests, and then I just went and mastered stuff. So then as soon as I cleared a quest, that one came up and I just cleared that one too.
Yeah. And yeah, the one that I had just one quest left to do to 100% it, and that was to collect all of Charlotte's spells. And she has one spell that is like a 3% drop off of an enemy that only appears in the boss rush in the Nest of Evil. And it's at like the beginning of like the 4th level of the Nest of Evil. So there's one guy and he has like maybe an 8% chance to drop it. And then if he doesn't drop it, then you've got to beat that floor and go back and do it again. And you can't go backwards. You can't exit the room, enter the room. Like everything else in the game, you can farm in a regular place, but that one spell only there. And it's like, well, this is just, I spent maybe 3 hours working on that one and it didn't drop. And I was like, yeah, you know what? No, I'm good.
I wouldn't. I was trying to go for all of Jonathan's abilities. Yeah. And I had to kill a royal guard, wherever the hell those big final guard guy is.
Yeah.
And I did it like 5-6 times. I'm like, fuck this. And then that was the end of that.
Yeah, I got that one. I got lucky on that one and he dropped it on like my second try. So
nice.
I don't understand. There must be something wrong with my brain, because all of this stuff you guys are talking about and you're like, oh yeah, it was no big deal. This was kind of annoying. This was the stuff that like made me not like this game. Like this little stuff. And again, and if you're not paying attention to the story, like, I guess it's fine. But like, Jonathan is the most annoying kind of like anime whiny protagonist, like can't figure his shit out.
Yeah, and he's like, very stereotypical. That's true.
He's so annoying. Like I felt like they didn't do enough with Bronner, which like could have been cool. Like it just, all of this stuff was just like little stuff that kept picking at me, and I'm like, I would rather be playing literally any other Metroidvania at all. And so like when you guys are talking about it, I'm like, yeah, this stuff is very annoying. Like, how are you, like, I don't understand just like blowing past that stuff, because that stuff is obnoxious.
I mean, when it comes to drops, I've always been like this in games. I just move on. I'm like, okay, that's nice. If I don't get it, I don't, I won't try that hard for that long unless I really need it. And in a case like this, I didn't need some of these abilities. I didn't give a shit. But that's
the thing is like I obsess over 100%ing games just because that's like how my brain works. But like, it's completely optional. Like, you could beat this game without ever farming for a second. Like, you don't need any of the things.
Not even necessarily the farming. I mean, like the quest stuff.
Oh, well, the quests are also complete. All of them are optional. Like, none of them are required to beat the game.
But like, you get good stuff for doing the quests, and like it does make the game better when your quest system is like fun.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
Fun.
Other than the fact that
the quests are fine.
2 quests I fucked up. I fucked myself over by selling 2 items that I needed later on. That was my only issue with it. Other than that, I was fine.
Yeah, and the quest that I was talking about, finding Maria's like spell, like that's like the last possible, like it's finding Maria's spell, all of Maria's spells, and mastering all of Jonathan's sub weapons, right? Is it mastering all of them or just finding all of them?
Just finding them all. You only have to master Holy Cross.
Yeah, there's certain ones you have to master. Yeah,
Holy Water and like
Dagger,
the Bible,
or the Bible. That's right, because it's like
you get a really good weapon for doing it, which I did, and then I was kind of set.
Yeah, it's kind of funny though, because like you're saying the rewards are good, but really I didn't really use much of the rewards. Like, one of them is like a pretty cool spell that I used, and then I was like, yeah, I mean, this is fine, but I like my spell I'm already using. And really, once you beat Richter, nothing is as good as the Vampire Killer. Like, there's the upgraded there's a few things that do more damage, but they're slower. The upgraded Vampire Killer is fast, does a lot of damage, and has long reach. So I kind of like used it almost exclusively once I powered it up.
I did not use it at all. I used Alucard's Spear, which I got from Wind, and that was my go-to weapon until I beat the game.
Alucard's Spear is the highest damage thing in the game, I think. I think it is. But I didn't use it much because I don't like the Spear attack style. It's too slow and it doesn't have a good arc. Like, if I'm going to do something slow, I want like a great sword or an axe that does like a big arc around me.
Yeah.
But I use the whip has the arc also, and also does like, I think, almost as much damage. It's like 90% as much damage as the Alucard Spear, and you don't have to do any quests for that one. That's just, you get that one through playing the game naturally. I also liked. I found the Nebula whip really early.
Oh yeah,
and that thing was super useful because it homes in on whatever the nearest enemy, so you don't even have to like aim. You just like run forward, pressing attack, and it hits whatever you're aiming at.
that was cool.
And it does pretty decent damage. Yeah, I used it most of the game.
To kind of go back to what one of Mike's complaints with the story and how Jonathan is a whiny brat. But, like, I didn't care because I really didn't read. I mean, I would read some of what was happening on the screen, but I didn't give a shit. Like, I'm with Kerry. Like, I love story in game, but this is a game where I'm just having a blast reading it.
Yeah.
Like, playing it, not reading it.
I kind of just assumed that in a Castlevania game, the story is not going to be good. So it's like...
I mean, I know all the Castlevania stories because I've actually have watched a 3-hour video on the timeline of every Castlevania game multiple times in my life at this point on YouTube. So I love the story, but I just don't like. I think it's cool that you're playing as the son of the guy from Castlevania Bloodlines, and that just takes place during World War II. Like to me, that's super damn cool, but it doesn't. I just ignore Jonathan whining when he's talking. I'm like, whatever.
I mean, I figure he's no worse than Cloud from Final Fantasy VII, and that game is like beloved for its story and all that, and that character is completely like irredeemable and whiny in that game.
Yeah, and I don't like Final Fantasy VII either.
Yeah. I love Final Fantasy VII. It's one of my favorite games, but again, not really playing it for the the amazing storytelling.
I've played it so many years.
It does have. I mean, Final Fantasy VII does have a pretty good story, actually. But
it does.
I'm just saying, Cloud is your typical, anime whiny boy.
Yeah.
It's just like, or what's his name for Final Fantasy 12, which is, I mean, I love Final Fantasy 12, but the main character in that is completely useless and forgettable. I can't even remember his name.
Vaughn,
yeah.
I know who he is, but I never
he's
played
barely the main character, though, really.
I know, it's mostly... that's the one Final Fantasy I've never really played.
Yeah, that game, he's more like he's like the third-party observer of the really good story, actually. Well, for a video game, honestly.
But like also with this game, like another thing that I also enjoyed the portrait. I think Mike, you had a problem with the portraits too, right?
As far as
just them being like, because instead of having a giant castle, you go into portraits that then lead to their own little mini dungeons.
Yes, it's like Mario 64.
Yeah, another game I don't like.
I don't like the game either, to be honest with you. So.
Don't like Mario 64? What the hell? What do you? That's why you were talking about before. You weren't a Nintendo kid, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
If Mario's not running left to right, I don't care.
Oh, you're so
I'm
missing
kind of
out.
with you,
I mean,
to be honest, but...
Well, no, I'm not missing out. I've played all of those games. I've played through all of the 3D Marios. Well, I didn't beat Sunshine, but
what about Odyssey though? Odyssey's
fine. Oh. I think Odyssey is fine.
Okay.
Never played it yet.
we can still be friends, I guess.
I wasn't a fan of Mario 64, which you can hear all about on this podcast a long time ago.
Didn't we do a Mario 64?
We did, yeah.
Episode?
Me, you, and Cody.
I love Mario 64.
I was late to the N64 party because I was, I went from NES to Genesis to PlayStation.
Yeah.
And so 64, I missed out until I was like 30. And I played
makes
Mario
sense,
64 the first time when I was 30. And I'm like, this is not great.
Yeah, no, you experienced it at the wrong time. So
that's true. That's true. Like I went, NES, SNES, 64, GameCube, like that route. So
yeah,
for me, Mario 64 is to me one of the best video games ever made. Like I think other games have surpassed it, but only by building off of it and taking from it, not like on their own.
Yeah, but, and I have that with games. Like there's stuff that is sort of like solidified in my memory as like classics. But if someone were to play it for the first time today, they would probably hate it. And I totally get that.
Yeah, that makes sense. But anyway, it's like Mario 64 in that you've got this overarching castle. In this game is actually still pretty big. It's like half or a fourth the size. I'd say it's like half the size of the Symphony of the Night main castle, right?
It's not bad size.
It's about about half the size of the right side up castle. But then you've got these nine other worlds, eight worlds and paintings.
Yeah, because you have the 4, then you have the 4 darker versions of them that you do again after you get to where Bronner is.
Right, and then you've got the Nest of Evil, which is its own thing.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Because I didn't. I played this game when I first got my 3DS. I went to GameStop and I got my 3DS in like 2016 2017, 2018, and I got lucky and found this complete in box at a GameStop. They just happened to have it with a case sitting in one of their cases, and I remember I bought it, and I played it back then, but I didn't do Nest of Evil. This time, I went and did everything. I did Nest of Evil. I was gonna, if I wouldn't have sold those items, I might have messed around more to try to get 100%. But
yeah, I played through and beat the game and got all the endings, and then I did New Game Plus and almost 100% of it, and then I played through in the sister mode where you play as Stella and Loretta at the same time, and I almost beat it with that, and then I kind of like finally put it down and went back to to playing Cyber. I think I went back to Cyberpunk or something. But
I played through this game and then I said I want to play a good game, and I played Metroid Dread.
Hey, okay. that is a big upgrade. Metroid Dread is maybe my second favorite Metroid game.
It's definitely my second favorite.
Yeah, I think it's the best Metroid game, but I can't not. For me, Super Metroid's always going to be the best one. Just because
I'm exactly the same there.
Yeah. Were we on the top games, the top Metroidvanias podcast?
Yeah,
that's right. I remember that. That was where we lined up, was on Super Metroid.
Yep.
And Metroid, Super Metroid and Metroid Dread we lined up on. That's right.
Yeah.
Metroid Dread would be a nice palate cleanser after this for sure.
Yeah. I think we play games different ways.
Yeah.
So like I can see, because there are different ways to play these games, and it was just this one. It's one of those things, like, I can put up with a lot of bullshit in games. Like, I don't mind bullshit in games. But when it's like, I would rather have some big bullshit thing, like, you know, a big gameplay thing, rather than what's in this game is like, I think I said it in the chat. It's like an uncanny valley of a Castlevania game. Like, everything's just slightly off. I think I would like it better if it was more off, but because it's like, this is almost like Aria of Sorrow. This is almost like Symphony of the Night.
Yeah.
But it's not quite. Like, I would rather it be like Order of Ecclesia, where it's like its whole own thing, rather than it being as close as it is to, you know, those ones that I enjoy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So probably the reason that I don't like this game is my own fault. But I went.
You're like me with, like, when I played Dawn of Sorrow, I hated Dawn of Sorrow.
Yeah, which is
I played
insane.
it wrong. I played it completely wrong.
Yeah, I didn't play this wrong. Like, I didn't have a problem. I'm assuming we'll talk about it at some point, but like the Dracula fight is obnoxious. I didn't have like horrible time with it, but it's an obnoxious fight. Like, I think I did it like 4 or 5 times.
Where you fight Dracula and Death at the same time?
At the same time. Like, that's not how that goes.
I thought that was like a fresh twist on it, instead of it just being the same as, I don't know. Like, and I didn't think that fight was like difficult, because you just. It
isn't when you do what me and Kerry did and level your ass up real high and then go into that fight.
Yeah, I don't know that I was super high, but
we were.
The big thing is that you just Death has like half as much HP as Dracula, so you just focus down Death because you only have to beat one of them.
Yeah.
When I played this game the first time, like 6 years ago or so, I had a terrible time with that final boss fight. But then again, I didn't look up a guide. I didn't know like what the weaknesses were. I didn't do the Nest of Evil, and I got my ass handed to me multiple times before I got lucky and beat Death and Dracula. This time, after beating the Nest of Evil and knowing what I was doing and having looked up what to do, it was a cakewalk.
Yeah, to be fair, I did like look up just like, you know, tips, and it was just like focus on Death. He has way less HP than Dracula, and you don't have to beat them both. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I beat him on my first attempt.
Yeah, but I definitely wasn't high enough level to be doing because I just wanted to get this game over with. So I didn't do any like. I didn't do any, which I always end up doing in like pretty much any game that I play. Like, I'm always like, the first time is extra hard for me because I like to get to the end of a game. So. Oh yeah,
see, I like to save the end for the very last thing. So see, I've done everything I can do in this game. Now I'll go ahead and beat it.
Yeah, I do it the second time. I always try to do the story first, which never helps me in Souls games or Metroidvanias. But like when I do a New Game Plus, then I'll go and explore. And, you know, by the time I get to the end, I'm like a destroyer god. but that first time is always very, very hard for me.
You see, with these games, like that's why I love the Igavanias more than just Metroid. It's because I get lost a lot, and I explore every nook and cranny. And the fact that I'm just getting experience while I wander around helps my brain. Like, this is okay to get lost. It's okay to spend an hour running around killing things because at least you're getting something out of it. Versus like a Metroid game where I'm getting nothing out of it and I get irritated.
You're getting something out of it. You get to play a Metroid game.
But I want experience. One of my favorite games, one of my favorite Metroidvania game is probably Bloodstained. I think that was in the recording too. And this is this is probably my second. Like, I love this game. I love the enemy design. I love everything about this game. I love this Castlevania.
Yeah, I loved it. I mean,
it is so much fun to me. Like, you know, the variances and the paintings, how they're a little bit different, everything like that. The stuff with having Charlotte there, like, I had her out almost all the time, even though she drains MP, but for me, it's not a big deal because I usually don't use MP until late in the game or boss fights because that's how I play any game. I don't use magic except for boss fights or healing. That's it.
No, that's funny.
If you were to ask me if I would rather play this than most other games, I would say this. But since we're not like comparing it, like I'm not comparing it to other games, I'm comparing it to other Castlevania games. This is like, I think the only one that I have lower on my list is Super Castlevania 4. I think that's the only one that's lower than this.
Okay.
On my personal list. And like, I would just rather play any other Castlevania game.
No, and I get that. I mean, there's nothing, you know, each their own. Like, I was hoping that when you went back to this, you would have a different experience.
So was I. I went back into it like, all right, well, these guys were saying all this great stuff about this game. And I'm like, this is going to be good. This is going to be good. And like, Jonathan ruined it like right away. Like, as soon as I saw Jonathan talking, I was like, oh, Christ, this is why I hated this game.
That's fair. I mean,
and then, like I said, just everything is just so slightly off. It just kept piling up until I was like, I would rather be playing anything right now. Give me, let me get back to Pal World. No, I didn't have Pal World before I started playing this, but like I said, I played Dread right after this, and I'm like, now this is a game.
No, I don't like Dread that much. So Dread's too hard for me. Dread's an amazing game, but it's too hard.
I was surprised.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was surprised when I started it this time and it gave me options for difficulty. I was like, huh?
Oh, yeah, they added that later. I mean, I put it on the shelf, I'm pretty sure, from what I remember in my episode when we did it, I think, or maybe Stack. I mean, amazing fucking game. Oh, woo, that hard. Go listen to whatever I said about Metroid Dread. I don't remember what I said.
It's Metroid Dread like considered hard among?
I think it was hard as hell.
Oh.
I didn't have too much problem until the last boss. The last boss, I think, is maybe the hardest Metroid boss. But other than that, I thought it was pretty standard.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna be like, oh, well, I'm good at games, but I guess
both are good at games.
These are the kind of games I'm really good at, I guess, because I didn't think Metroid Dread was difficult, but
you both are Dark Souls fiends. You are good at games.
that's true. Yeah, and so that kind of says it for me. For me, games are like all about the mechanics usually with most games. So for me, this game is just like it was bringing new mechanics, and I liked the mechanics mostly. So, it still, to me, doesn't rise to the level of Symphony of the Night, which is, simplicity, like perfection and simplicity to me in terms of those mechanics. And I think that I prefer the spell system in Dawn of Sorrow and Aria of Sorrow to this. Similarly, I would, prefer Bloodstained to this. But I think otherwise, this is probably, probably my fourth favorite Castlevania game, most likely.
See, that's too much thinking in some of those games that you mentioned. Like, but for me, this is what I loved. Like, I love the simplicity of this game and also like it gave me an excuse to do more. Like, I spent hours in that hallway mastering skills and farming money off by killing these minotaurs. I killed over, must have been I looked at one point it was over 600.
Because you wanted to do the quest.
That, and I wanted to be stronger, so as I played more of the game, it would be easier. And I had an excuse to be checking multiple boxes in Mike's head while he did the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
I mean, when it comes to RPG,
I do like having tasks to do. That's true.
Yeah, and it gives me an excuse to grind. And when I was playing this game, it was perfect to just do it over and over again. Like I was watching TV, I'm watching Medium. I could just keep doing the same thing. I just had to be careful not to be too stupid. Be like, oh, you're out of health because if I die, I die, and then I got to remember. And then I'll load at the same point. But I did it for. I mean, I spent hours farming those Minotaurs, and I loved it. Like
I also appreciated. I appreciated that it didn't have any like touchscreen BS.
Yes.
That it forced on you. It does actually, if you play the sisters mode, that's all touchscreen. You like basically the sisters mode, you basically like it's like they turned on like no clip, not exactly no clip, but like you just kind of like float and you can go through like you just kind of float around, like hover, and then you can fly, but you only have like limited, it uses up your mana to fly. And then you have basically like one of the sisters, her attack is like she like shoots ice crystals, and you just, wherever you tap on the screen, she does it, but you can also just hold down. You can hold down on the screen with the stylus. And the other sister, she has like a sword, and you slash, like, it's like playing Phantom Hourglass, the DS Zelda game, where you
playing in a few months.
Yeah, you attack by slashing with by slashing the screen with the stylus. So yeah, you're not gonna like.
No, I'm not.
I don't think you're like. I like Phantom Hourglass. It's not my favorite Zelda, but I like it a lot. I thought Phantom Hourglass was good, but I can't see you liking it very much. We'll see.
No, but my goal is to play every Zelda game, and it's on that list. So
well, yeah, it's not bad. I mean, I think it's good, but. And you got to play it on an original DS though, or
I am.
Or 3DS, yeah.
Thankfully for a flash cart. So my dumbass played this game on a flash cart, even though I own this game complete in box. I was too lazy at first to just grab the actual version and put it in the DS, and I was like, I should have did that because the flash cart crashed on me multiple times, and I can't put it in sleep mode very often. Like it'll just crash sometimes, and I'm like. Why didn't I just pull out? You got
a bad flash cart. That sucks. I have a flash cart for my DS, and that's how I played this, and also the last game with Dawn of Sorrow. The same way.
So that's not like I do own Dawn of Sorrow.
No, my flash cart I've never had any issues with. I never had.
Yeah, I got a shitty one, but it still works because usually with DS games there's lots and lots of saving, so it doesn't really like. Usually the only way it crashes. Yeah,
still it's frustrating for it to do that.
Just don't close it. That's the trick.
It's like what game was it we played recently where I was like I played it in hard. Oh, it was Assassin's Creed where my controller would just disconnect every like 3 minutes, and I would just I called it the extra hard mode.
What?
Yeah.
The original Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. We played it for the podcast, and I was using a Xbox One controller, and for some reason my PC my Xbox One controller like randomly disconnects from my PC while I'm playing.
Ugh.
Only Steam games, but still.
That's not good though.
But anyway, yeah. So the sisters mode is like you slash the screen, but it's like it's also super easy because her attack is like it's almost as fast as like the Chrysogrim.
But does she level up?
I don't think you level. I don't think you'd level up and playing in sisters mode. You're just very powerful the whole time.
See, I need that level up.
It's kind of like a god mode.
I need
it's not exactly god mode, but it's similar to god mode. Yeah, no, it's definitely, if they had made sisters mode the main way of playing this game, it would be completely boring. It's just like it's a fun little, like, you also, like, everything's unlocked. You fly through things so fast because there's no movement. There's nothing to pick up. There's no people. There's no wind or anything like that.
See,
there's
that would bother me because I need that for my brain to be happy with this game.
Yeah,
that's annoying.
Like have you played like Symphony of the Night in the different modes and Richter mode and Maria mode? Yeah, see, it's the same thing. When you play Symphony of the Night, you get really used to Symphony of the Night being like so much of that game is like the item drops, and you play in Richter mode and everybody just drops hearts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why I've tried Richter mode before, and I have always had that idea that I'm going to beat these games in different modes. But when you take away the experience part, I'm out immediately.
Yeah, it definitely loses a little bit of the charm for sure. I mean, I enjoy Richter mode and Maria mode in Symphony of the Night is like a lot of fun and very, very hard.
But Maria mode is only on very certain versions of it, though.
Yeah, it's not
on the PS1 version. It's on the Saturn version, which I heard is bad, and then I think they finally put it on something else.
It's on the PSP version because that's
Okay.
That's how I played it. That's how I beat Symphony of the Night for the first time was on the PSP version, and then I
for
played
this
through.
game, besides Sister Mode, I know they have Richter Mode, which I've never liked Richter Mode because it takes away what I like about the game. So
Right? Yeah.
I never do though.
Is that all? That's all they have, right? It's just those two, and then there's a boss rush.
Yeah.
There's a boss rush
Which I
mode
also
I
didn't do.
think, which I didn't.
You get something out of it, I think.
I didn't mess with. Yeah, I don't know what you get for it.
You get something. I was reading about it. You get something for doing it, but I just had absolutely zero interest in it.
Yeah.
It can't be that good.
I didn't. I mean, that's just not how I play these games. I just wanted to beat the game, and when the credits roll, and at least I can say now I beat every boss in this game, and I was happy. So that was enough for me.
Yeah.
The Nest of Evil is really damn cool, where you fight Dawn of Sorrow bosses too. I think that was really cool. They just re-put the sprites in.
They added. There's a couple of things like that. Like there's some of the first boss from Symphony of the Night is just here as two different enemies.
Oh yeah, they do that a lot though.
I think they do that in Aria of Sorrow.
Slogan and
also. Yeah,
they've done it a few times.
Those two are in a lot of these games.
Yeah, they're also in the anime too. In one scene, they get killed, but they're in the anime too.
In like the season finale of the first season, I think
something like that. Yeah, they're just famous characters at this point for Castlevania monsters.
Yeah, and I was looking. There's a lot of bosses in this game, even if you don't count the Nest of Evil. Like the Nest of Evil has 10 bosses.
Great.
Or 9. Has 9 bosses, because there's 9 levels in Nest of Evil, so 9 bosses. And then not counting the Nest of Evil, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. There's 18 bosses in this game.
And that's what makes it, I mean, that's what I went for. I mean, like when I play Bloodborne, Dark Souls, I kind of do the same thing. My goal is to beat all the bosses before I beat the game.
Yeah.
I won't be doing that in our Bloodborne run, by the way, when we do it later this year.
You will be? Because it only takes about 4 hours?
No, I'm going as much as I can. There's a certain guy named Orphan that's being left alone. So
no, you can't leave alone the Orphan. That's the most fun boss in that game.
Let's say if you're going to do all bosses, that includes Orphan of Kos.
Yeah, I did every boss but Orphan last time I beat that game. So
and see me, the like crazy Dark Souls fan, because I didn't get a modern PlayStation until the PS5. I played through Bloodborne and I beat Orphan of Kos, but I didn't beat the game. Because I was playing Bloodborne and I was just playing through doing one boss at a time, and then Elden Ring came out and I dropped Bloodborne to play Elden Ring, and then I just never went back to Bloodborne. So I'm looking forward to actually beating the game this time. I got through Orphan of Kos, and then I did all the DLC bosses. I beat the DLC.
No, it's on the schedule. I'm gonna make myself. If I don't finish it, at least we can talk about it. But I'm going to try to beat it again.
Oh, I'll definitely. Yeah, just let me know when I need to.
Oh, yeah, you got time.
Put aside a month.
September.
Okay. All right.
Oh,
good.
I'll give you guys months. Don't worry.
Yeah, let me know the day before and I'll go through it again.
That's gonna be a game where I need months to play it ahead of time because I can't play that. Like I play a lot of games when I'm doing other things. That's a game I cannot play while doing other things. So.
No, I've played through that game so many times at this point. I could probably sit down and play it through in one sitting.
You got to do a challenge run this time, then.
I think I will. I
do
will.
Like guns only one. No cum dungeon. No cum dungeon. That's got to be a rule, because that completely is like whenever people do the cum dungeon, I'm like, well, you're just cheating at this point. Might as well enter a cheat code.
Maybe I'll do magic this time. I've never done a magic run of this game.
That's definitely hard mode in Bloodborne.
That's what I started.
Yeah.
I'm doing a mostly guns run. I'm gonna do gun as my main thing, but not a challenge run.
Another thing with the Castlevania that I like, I always appreciate when there's a shop. That's how
I have to have a shop. You need a shop.
I have said in the past that Bloodborne is basically a Castlevania game.
It is the Castlevania of Dark Souls, that's for sure. Yeah, I like there being a shop, and also having a way to teleport to the shop is nice.
I didn't know that until I was watching speedruns, because I never bought the item.
Yeah.
There's multiple glitches in this game that I didn't know about, because...
So they have that I think they have that in all these games. I know, they have it in Symphony of the Night and in Dawn of Sorrow, and I think they have it in Aria of Sorrow.
Yeah, they do
also.
an area too. I just
a way to teleport to the
because it's library ticket in Symphony of the Night.
Yeah, library
card. I didn't know what it was.
And this one, it's like mill ticket, I think.
Yeah, something like I didn't use it. It wasn't until speedrunners I realized it was a thing. I just didn't care because I never had
it. I never really needed it. I just appreciate having the option.
Yeah, I'm same there. I also really
it's also good for when you're like really far from a teleport thing and you just want to get out of a place. You're just like, I want to go back. Or just you just feel like it. You're like, I don't want to have to run back through all this thing. I'll just teleport to the
experience. You see, in these games, I will run across the entire castle sometimes just for fun because of experience.
Yeah.
That's just me with what I was going to say, though. I appreciate the fact that when you do the second 4 portraits right by Bronner, they're essentially a throwback to early Castlevania where you have the creature, Medusa, the mummy, and the werewolf as the boss fights. I thought that was really nice.
Yeah. Creature, mummy, werewolf, Medusa. Yep.
I really appreciate that they did that throwback.
Yeah, that was cool.
I mean, there was one throwback I didn't know was in this game, except for the guy who told me before I got there. But they redo the fight from Symphony of the Night, where you fight the trio in the second to final floor of the Nest of Evil. That was so damn cool to see them again.
Yeah, where you're fighting the fake Trevor, Grant, and Sifa.
Yeah, I just love them so much.
Yeah, I love that. And remember they had that in Bloodstained also, but they have
I was going to say the best one of those fights is the one in Bloodstained.
Yeah, agreed.
I love Bloodstained.
But yeah, I like that. But like there's some repeat bosses in the regular stuff. Like you fight Legion in the Nation of Fools, and he's from Symphony of the Night.
I mean, Legion isn't he like in every game pretty much?
Yeah.
He's just one of those bosses.
He's in a lot of them. Yeah, he's in a lot of them. Dullahan is in several of them also.
Yeah, he was an early boss in this too, but he's fine. The Grasshopper guy from Dawn of Sorrow was back. I don't remember his name, but he was back.
Oh yeah, the guy, is it Abaddon?
Yeah, the guy that looks like a conducting grasshopper that summons more grasshoppers. Yeah,
yeah,
that's what I call him.
He reminds me of that one Pokemon that's like a cricket.
I wish I knew what you're talking about, but it must be farther. It's farther than Gen 3. So
yeah, there's like a cricket Pokemon that looks like a conductor like that too.
I need to play. Pokemon is. I love Pokemon, but it's really the early gens where I don't know, and I know nothing after that. Unfortunately, I'm trying to change that slowly.
Yeah.
Started playing Pokemon with Diamond and Pearl, so
it's not a good spot.
I don't know. I really like Diamond and Pearl.
See, I'm red and blue. I mean, I like Diamond and Pearl also.
The old stuff is like boring for me.
Oh,
I'm like,
I get it. It's hard to go back. When I play old Pokemon games, I play it on my phone with times 2 or times 4 speed, and it's wonderful. But
see, my first paycheck for my first job working at Target, I bought a Game Boy Color and Pokemon Red and Blue. So bought them both because I didn't know they were different games, or they're same game. I mean,
there's differences. Hey, at least you didn't do what my friend did, and he bought both and bought himself a player's guide with the money I gave him to buy me a player's guide. So hey.
Oh, I did buy a player's guide also.
Yeah, but not with your friend's money. Then when he comes over, go, hey, you got me a guide, and you go, no, I spent your money.
No, there's those halcyon days when you're making tons of money and you have very few bills. You're not making tons of money. You're making minimum wage and you have very few bills. You're like, ooh, I can just buy everything.
I bought a PlayStation. I bought my PlayStation 1 with money from my first job.
Nice.
Auto San Andreas. I didn't buy much. I kept buying games every week. That's what I did. I went to EB Games every week and would spend my money that I made.
I worked at Target, so I just buy things from our electronics section. So.
No, I worked at Major Magics, which is like knockoff Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh, nice.
And I bought a PlayStation 1 loaded and Nightmare Creatures with my first paycheck.
Nice.
So I made decent money for back then.
Yeah. I did that one check. I only worked Game Boy Color, 2 Pokemon games, strategy guide, and Running with Scissors, the Weird Al album. That's right.
Nice. That's a good album.
Yeah.
I just love I can't remember the Bloodstained throwback to the trio, but it made me happy to see them again.
It's a secret area.
Yeah, it's
I didn't find it the first time I played through the game, actually.
Yeah, and they're like zombies. They're like dead.
Okay, yeah, I did everything in Bloodstained for the boss fights. I'm pretty sure except maybe one.
You did for when we did the podcast for sure.
Yeah. Go listen to episodes. I don't remember what the hell I said, but
yeah, we did.
I just know I love that game, but it was just cool to see them again, see that throwback. And another part for me that really made me like this game's story was the fact that Jonathan we haven't talked about, he has the whip, but he can't use the whip because it's cursed. And you have to then go inside a dream and fight Richter, who cursed the whip essentially. And then when you beat Richter, the whip gets uncursed. And I really like that fact.
Yeah, it's like a duel you have with him. So like if he beats you, you don't die. He just goes, enough, And he's
You
like,
lose all your items.
he's
Whatever
like,
items you use, though, you don't get them back.
oh, really?
Yeah, if you use a bunch of potions to try to win the fight and then die,
okay.
it still happen. You just don't get a game over. But
Right, I see.
that's why you just reload your save then because you're pissed. So
Yeah. And again, like that was fun. Like that stuff is fun. But yeah, it was. If I was playing this game in a vacuum, I would be like, this game is great. But I'm not playing in a vacuum.
No, that's fine.
Yeah,
I mean,
that makes sense.
I'm bugged that you. I mean, I'm a little not bugged. I'm bummed that you didn't have a great time. But like you knew that coming in. You were like, yeah, I don't like this game. I'm not gonna like this game.
No, and I've been known to play games years after I didn't like them the original time and end up liking them. But like it was just the same little stuff that was bugging me about this one. As a whole, this game is great. Like as if you're looking at the big picture of video games, this game is fine. It is a video game that is competently made and you can play it and have fun time with it. But just like, when I'm playing a Dark Souls game, I read the item descriptions every time, even though I know what they say. Like, I know where the corpses are of the people who are story, who have something to do with the story. I like the lore and the story of these games. And I just think that the story of this game, although it is a direct sequel to one of my favorite Castlevania games, it's the story of the character that I don't use's son who's annoying.
No, that's fair. I mean,
the character that I do like in that game, the character that I do like in Bloodlines, they kill.
Yeah, when I beat Bloodlines, which is also on this podcast. Go listen to episode 2. I used the Lacard, Eric. I didn't use
Eric.
Morris.
That game is so fun to play, and I was telling you guys before that I replayed Bloodlines after this, and I always use Eric, but I use John just to see what the difference was, and it's a huge difference. Like Eric's just faster and cooler looking, and that spear has better abilities, with the high jump and stuff. He's just easier to use and more fun. So yeah, just all the little stuff just got to me. But if you're playing this as Castlevania game, it's fine. It's great. Like it's a great game. It's just not a great Castlevania game for me. Who likes the story stuff.
Makes sense.
I also I want to talk about that final fight. Like when I first saw Death and Dracula team up, I was like, this is amazing. I mean, I cursed myself a bit, but it was amazing. Yeah,
that's actually like, I think if it would have been harder, I would have had a better time with
If you don't know that their life, that you only have to kill one of them, it's a lot harder than you think.
Yeah. I guess I could have made it harder for myself, but
because I know I did.
I was saying that Death has less HP. I think they share HP, so it doesn't matter which one you're attacking, but I'm not sure.
They don't share. They just have 2 different life bars, but whoever you deplete first, you win. So
then I guess Death does have less because.
But when I first played this, I didn't know that, and I would just target each one as I saw them. Where this time I focused all my effort on Death and just wiped them out quickly and then got done with the fight. But if you don't know that and you're being more like trying to think you got to kill both, it can take a lot longer.
Yeah, looking stuff up made a difference too. Like finding out, I never noticed that Charlotte's, I never used Dark Rift, and then I read about Dark Rift being like the best spell in the game. And then you start using it for boss fights. You start using it in boss fights and realize it's just overpowered, especially if you charge it. It's ridiculous because it absorbs projectiles, and they don't hurt you if they pass through you on the way to it. And it's just kind of crazy.
That is kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
I didn't use it. I know you talked about it in the chat and said how good it was, but I never used it. I didn't get it till later, and at that point I was already like pretty damn powered up.
So you use it in that Dracula and Death fight, right? Death will just sit there in it taking damage, first of all, but second of all, it will like attract all of the little scythes Death is throwing and all the fireballs that Dracula's shooting. They'll just go into it, and so you're basically immune to their projectile attacks while it's up. And so you can just sit there and wail on Death while Dracula's just shooting fireballs that are flying straight through you and doing no damage and getting sucked into the rift. And meanwhile, the rift is also doing damage. It's really powerful.
Yeah, and I know that this was way before the first Dark Souls, but like I was almost expecting like an Ornstein and Smough thing where like you beat one and then the other one has both of their powers, and that would have been amazing.
That would have been
I never
pretty
want to
cool.
do that fight again.
Because then you just fight true Dracula instead, and it's just like the big demon monster Dracula, right?
Yeah,
it's
the
not
one from everything.
It wasn't very good. I mean, this is the fight where he has that invincibility attack where the wings like are attacking on the screen, make it look cool, and you have to hit them, and then they eventually go away, and you can hit him again. It was okay.
The big one was that the one where he like grabs the like side of the screen, like the spikes come from the side of the screen. Yeah, and I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing with that at first.
Smack him.
Yeah, you just had to smack the little teeth. Hit the teeth.
But no, that's fair. I didn't either. I looked it up. I was like, I'm going to look at the guide real fast. So I had pulled up.
Yeah, because I died to that one a few times. I'm like, what is going on?
That's fair. The game doesn't, it does a video game thing. It doesn't explain stuff.
It doesn't tell you at all. That's true.
I ended up maxing out a couple different abilities, which I appreciate the fact that you got to do that, even though there was no point. I just wanted more of a reason to play this game. Like I could have kept playing this, but I'm like, I have a very set schedule with this podcast where I'm like, put the game down. The week is up. Go on to the next game. But I could have kept, like, I was having so much fun. God, this is also the farthest I've ever gotten in the Igavania series. Like, I've never played Order of Ecclesia, which I don't know when that will happen. Probably not.
Yeah, I haven't either. I've got it sitting on this flash cart ready to play it.
It's okay. Here's the thing about Order of Ecclesia. It's very hard, but again, you can overlevel yourself, and it's, I think, the only one that does the touchscreen thing right. It's been a while since I played it, but I don't remember ever. You've thrown me completely off.
Sorry. I couldn't help it. I had to make the comment. I didn't think I'd throw you off without you just keep going.
But yeah, I remember not having to move and use the touchscreen at the same time. I think the touchscreen is for like your powerful spells. So you end up like finishing off bosses with it and using it at certain times instead of like that's the way you do your spells. So I think they finally figured it out after, what is that, 4 on the DS, or is that the third one?
This one just doesn't have you use the touchscreen at all, which is
wonderful.
Yeah, I'm completely fine with that. Let's just
the touchscreen is your screen that you just look at, and then the top screen is your map. I'm okay with that, right? Isn't that what it was?
Yes.
I beat this 2 weeks ago.
Which is, so it's like the opposite of Dawn of Sorrow.
Yeah, I think that's wrong. I think the top screen should be your screen, but that's a little that's something that doesn't matter at all.
Well, what I'll say is a person that fixes and mods them is the bottom screen is a higher quality screen.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Why would they make the screen that you don't use for playing video games the better screen?
Well, you use the bottom screen. I say it's a better screen. I mean, it might not be a better screen, but I shouldn't say it's a better screen. I know that it's a very good screen. It's a backlit IPS screen.
Okay, and
the top screen may be the same. Actually, come to think of it, now that I think about it,
I also play it on a 2DS, so the bottom screen is smaller.
Okay, I played this on a 3DS XL.
Yeah, I played it on a DS Lite. In fact, I played it on a broken DS Lite that I bought and fixed. It's one I bought from Japan, and I fixed and put some new parts in, so it works really well. They're the exact same size on the DS, by the way.
Yeah, same with the 3DS that I had.
I mean, it's just the 2DS for me feels best in my hands. So I use that more than anything.
That's fair. And I'm with you. Like, I mean, I didn't have a problem in this game, but I forgot. Well, Dawn of Sorrow I played not legit because I would have had to actually play that game correctly had I not been able to cheat. But I can see where you're coming from.
And hearing you say that, like how you played this one, I think you could play Dawn of Sorrow.
Oh, I could have. I was
legitimately
being stupid.
If you would play it good.
Yeah, I didn't play it. I don't know why I don't like hard games, and I made the game harder for me for absolutely no reason. I wasn't doing a challenge run. I was just being stupid. Like that wasn't done in my Dawn of Sorrow experience. With this game, I was like, because originally I was going to emulate this, and then next thing I know, I'm playing on the actual DS, and I'm like, here we go again. And when I played the game correctly and followed the mechanics, and this game was not hard at all. And
just know going into Order of Ecclesia that you need to do it the way that they want you to do it.
Oh yeah, no,
you're going to have a bad time.
I heard that game is extremely hard. That's so.
I think that's a little bit overblown, but for a Castlevania game, it is a hard Castlevania game.
Yeah, and that's what I heard. I heard it's the hardest of the bunch.
Yes.
It's also the only one I have not played now of all the Igavania.
Well, we're missing out,
3 for the show. We're missing Harmony, Circle of Moon, and Order of Ecclesia now on the show.
Order of Ecclesia is now the only one. Now that I've played this, it's the only one I haven't played. So I've got to play it next.
Yeah, it's really good. And if you have it, let me know when we're doing that for the show. But
I have the show pretty much planned out the rest of the year, and it's not on there yet.
Well, then next year.
I'm tempted to put it on because I have room, but I don't know if I want to. I have to move stuff around. We'll see. But it's always been on my list. I want to get to it. I also want to replay Circle of the Moon because I played Circle of the Moon on a cell phone, which is not the correct way to play that game.
Yeah, Circle of the Moon is better than people give it credit for. Circle of the Moon is good.
It is. I agree. Circle of the Moon is the one that looks bad because of the light issue, right?
It looks bad because it's an early
Game Boy
Advance game. They did not know how to make your character's very small.
That's Circle of the Moon. Okay.
Yeah. And then, Harmony Dissonance is the one where it's very bright.
Harmony Dissonance is the one where they made your character neon.
Yes, and he has the glowing blue around him. He's awesome. I think the character in Harmony of Dissonance is amazing.
So the thing is Harmony of Dissonance is the one that gets a lot of flack because of the look, but that game is really good.
Yeah, we might do a mini on it.
I just played through that one recently, last year, and I was like, oh, this is really, really good. But I love Circle of the Moon. Circle of the Moon is the one with the cards, the tarot cards.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that one's good, but that one, if you have an obsession with 100%ing things, that game will make you go insane.
Speaking, just one last thing on Portrait of Ruin, since we're talking about sprites now. I keep wanting to call him Orlok, but it's Bronner.
Bronner, yeah.
I keep wanting to call him Count Orlok because he looks like Nosferatu. I think that's one of the cooler sprites, period, in DS. I think he looks so cool. And again, they do nothing with him. It's annoying.
Yeah, he does look cool. He has a really, the shading of his, he's got that blue 3-piece suit with the big,
And he has that Nosferatu face.
He does. He has a Nosferatu head. I didn't realize he was supposed to. I didn't realize at first. Well, I guess they say that he's a vampire, but
yeah, they do.
I like Bronner. I like the idea that it's another vampire this time instead of just a human wizard or whatever. Bringing Dracula back.
Yeah, I thought, and that's one of the things that bothered me because I'm like, this is a really cool character. He's an artist, which I think could be an interesting character thing, but they don't do anything with his character. He's a cool looking painter, interesting guy, and nope, he's just the guy that you have to get through until Dracula comes back, and that's annoying.
Yeah, I thought the boss fight with him was the hardest one in the game for me.
Oh wow, I blew through that one. I was like, this is a joke.
Oh yeah, no. It didn't take me that many tries, but it took me several tries to beat him. I thought he was pretty difficult compared to the other bosses in the game. He has where he paints different paintings and they do different things. And one of them, he summons giant ghosts that will fly around the screen and go through the floor and ceiling. And if they hit you, it curses you. That was pretty tough. And then, the thing where he makes just a bunch of heads fly at you. It took me a second to think about, oh wait, just Dark Rift, and okay, never mind.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the places where the fact that this game plays so good did come into play because you could do that stuff. In a worse playing game, that would be a nuisance. Yes. But in this one, it was just a skill check.
Yeah, well, it was definitely a skill check boss for sure, I thought.
Yeah.
And it took me a minute to realize that I could get rid of the blood that he paints on the screen.
Oh, if you hit it, it'll go away.
Yeah. And so if you're using the whip, you just do the thing where you hold the whip and swing it around you, and that'll clear your area of it, and that makes it because I kept jumping into the blood after I would dodge it initially, and then I would end up jumping into it later. So it took me a second to realize I could get rid of the blood. it's almost like he's playing the game with a touchscreen.
Yeah, there's a
funny.
lot of cool mechanics in that fight.
Yeah. And I like the different paintings he does, like the paintings that he pulls out, each of them is a different spell too. Like the paintings, they like correspond with the spells.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just annoying that, all the cool stuff that happens with him is cool.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I mean, I get it. It upsets you that he's not a bigger part, and he's just, they pull the wool over your eyes, and you're like, fuck you.
Yeah, and now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, oh yeah, playing that fight was cool because of all the cool mechanic stuff. Like, why wasn't some of this stuff in the game a little bit more? So I guess my real problem is that they didn't do everything they could have with it.
I mean, this game, if I remember correctly, I think this came out 7 months after Dawn of Sorrow came out.
That's not enough time.
No. Let me check if that was right. I feel like that's what I was reading something, or I was watching something, and they said, this game was, super fucking fast. And Dawn of Sorrow 2005, this is November 2006. Yeah, August 25th, 2005 is Dawn. Portrait is in Japan is November 16, 2006. Yeah, they had a little bit longer, but not enough time either way.
No.
Again, they reused a lot of things, which was fine, but
yeah,
Konami being Konami, Konami's not known to be great. So,
and well, that's not true. I think Konami might be my favorite. Well, from up until.
Oh, I mean, they make great games. I'm saying I don't think the company itself.
Yeah.
The company itself has a lot of problems.
And the other thing I will say about Portrait of Ruin, maybe the best music since the 8-bit stuff.
The game had music? I didn't hear nothing when I played this game. Muted the entire time. I started with it on. Once I heard Charlotte, it went mute real fast.
Yeah, maybe
I definitely had it turned down because of that, but I like the music.
Yeah, the music is amazing. I wish they wouldn't have voice acted Jonathan and Charlotte.
Yeah. Do you know who the English voice actress for Charlotte is though?
No.
Is the voice actress for Sailor Moon from the original Sailor Moon.
Okay.
The English dubs of Sailor
Charlotte
Moon.
was fighting evil by moonlight and winning love by daylight. All right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep. And yeah, that explains, some things, why it was so stereotypically anime voices for those characters.
Yeah, and there's anime cutscenes too, I think, but only if you leave it on attract mode or something. Maybe I know I saw a cutscene.
Yeah, it's got the attract mode just like Dawn of Sorrow does, and I think Aria does also.
I never seen any of them.
You never? Oh, I like the one for Dawn of Sorrow a lot. Actually,
I just don't leave it on. I never.
Yeah, the attract mode for this is pretty cool. It's by the way, it's Stephanie Shea is the voice actress that is Sailor Moon and also Charlotte in this.
Yeah. And she wasn't bad. Definitely just very stereotypically anime, and
it is very anime.
And
yes, for sure.
That Jonathan is just so fucking annoying. I hate him so much. And he also has that hair, that's parted down the middle and goes into his eyes, just everything about it. He looks like Leon Kennedy. He looks like World War II gothic Leon Kennedy, and I fucking hate him.
I love that it's completely, there's unrealistic reasons why I didn't like it. It makes me so happy.
Yeah.
None of them are because it's a bad game or this was bad. It was just little things that are just irked you.
Yeah. Yep. No, again, it's not a bad game. It's just, it was irritating to me specifically.
You're all good. Oh, and the last topic I want to talk about before we go on to questions, comments, and memories is I want to talk about the fact that how many people can experience this game because it's locked the DS. We have the GBA Advanced collection that came out, and we have the other Castlevania collection come out, and I really wish Konami would re-release these. This, I know, Dawn, you'd have to do a few workarounds, and from the Sound Order, you have to do a few workarounds.
Yeah.
But it's not hard, and there are already mods for that. I don't know. And it's so easy to emulate everything now.
Yeah. And you're also playing it on a Switch. You would probably be playing it on a Switch. Is what I'm saying.
I wouldn't be, but yes, the average person would be.
So, you have a touchscreen right there.
But even then, I know with this game, you don't need a touchscreen. Dawn of Sorrow, I played it without the touchscreen because they patched it out in the emulator. You can easily do that. or the Ecclesia is the only one that I think you need. From the sound of it, you need a touchscreen, but I don't know enough about it.
I'm sure they could do something with it.
I'm sure there's a ROM that already patches it out.
And surely you would have to, because they wouldn't just put it out on the Switch. So you would have to do something. But yeah, I would imagine that it would be possible. And it is annoying. Like, and I don't know if it's Nintendo or Konami. Konami is so frustrating because, like, I think Konami is up there with From Software and Remedy, like, making games that I exclusively always like.
Yeah.
But they sort of stopped making games. Like,
well, yeah, they did. They sold the company, and the people that bought it, like, well, they didn't sell it, but they restructured it, and they, for a long time, they were just making, pachinko machines.
Yeah, and they said that there are new Castlevania games coming out. That Silent Hill remake. There's a new Silent Hill game coming out. Like, that's great if they, if they're good. But like, yeah, it's frustrating that they stopped for so long, because god damn, they made some great games.
I still don't think. I mean, I'll believe it when I see it if they make a actually new game. Like, I'm pretty sure they're just like going to have license their stuff out to other studios, which is fine. It's fine, honestly, at this point. But it does suck because, in the 80s and 90s, Konami was
too. Metal Gear and
80s, 90s, 2000s. Konami was a seal of excellence. If it's Konami, or a lot of time Capcom was another one back then, where it's all right, if they're putting their name on the game, it's probably a very good game.
Yeah. But Konami, like, there was just, for me personally, Konami's games were like head and shoulders the best games, like, especially on the NES.
Oh,
like,
yeah. And even their unofficial games, like RBI Baseball is one of my favorite NES games.
Yeah, like Roller Games, which is a bad game, but like it has like a good look because it's a Konami game. It has good music because it's a Konami game.
Yeah.
Like there are just some benchmarks to Konami games.
Yeah.
That
I had heard the only reason why we're even getting games again is because pachinko machines, like, they changed the law or something.
They did. They strengthened their anti-gambling laws.
So they had to we can't keep doing this, so we have to do something else. So we're gonna go back to what we used to do. Like,
that's fine.
Yeah, put out collections of their old stuff, which is fine. They put out really good collections, really good collections of like art books and original manuals and English and Japanese, like, separate versions, like, that you can switch between seamlessly.
Yeah, it just makes me sad that this is trapped to the DS. I mean, it just. Because I'm always sad with any game, especially when you're trapped to a system that's kind of archaic and like what you need to do for it, like, it can't be easily emulated.
Yeah,
I mean, this game could be, but
you can't even buy it anymore.
Right. That's the thing, is there's never going to be a retail version of this again.
Yeah,
of any of the DS games. Whereas retail wise, we can put the Aria and Harmony and Circle in a advanced collection like they did, and we can do Symphony and Rondo and the Requiem collection or whatever.
Oh, and they certainly have put Symphony of the Night out so many times.
Oh yeah, it's funny because I have that game on PSP, PS1, my PS1 Classic, and then I bought the PS on the PS5. One of the very first things I bought when I got a PS5 was the Symphony of the Night on PS5.
Yeah, I have the PS1 copy, the PSP version, the 360 version, that one with Rondo. Yeah. I bought the phone version. I spent $5 for the phone version, which is the absolute worst way to play that game. But still, if I'm, in line and I don't have my Switch with me, I can at least play Symphony of the Night.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's what Marvel Snap is for. When you're online.
No, thank you.
But yeah, no, you're right. Like, but this game is, if you have just an inkling of how to emulate things, then just emulate this. If they're not going to sell it to you, then steal it. Honestly,
that's why I always tell people how to get a hold of stuff, and I always when people ask me, I'm like, this is I'll point people in the right direction, because I want you to, especially if the game Eternal Darkness, one of my prime examples. That game is never being re-released ever. The only way to experience that, unless you want to give somebody on eBay a lot of money, is to emulate it. So.
Yeah, and like the basic, like, I think is this DSEMU on PC?
Like that.
Yep.
Has, like, unless you size the screens the way you want them and move them where you want them and everything, so it's really convenient. So yeah, it's it's really DS games are super easy to emulate on PC. Yeah. And you don't in this one. There's no touchscreen capabilities anyway in the regular mode, so it really is just having a map on the screen, or you can have up the stat screen is also useful. That's the same stuff that's on the stat screen in Aria and Dawn, where you can track like how much experience things are giving you and things like that.
Yeah, it wouldn't be hard for them to put this one in Dawn of Sorrow on. They just, it's not going to happen, unfortunately. Yeah. But it's just one of those things that makes me so upset that like this game is trapped.
Yeah. But hey, get a DS Lite on eBay, but it's about $40, $50 for a DS Lite.
Yeah, but this game is not. But
grab a flash card. I got one on Amazon for $30.
I was so scared to use them.
Like every game ever.
And they're like, I mean, besides mine is, I'm happy to know that mine is just not very good, because I might at some point buy another one, because I'm trying to play more DS games too. Like I did Kingdom Hearts 358 by 2 days on that. I have a lot of just random shit I want to play on from the DS library that I just never experienced, and that's what the flash card is going to be for.
Mine is called R4 SDHC 3DS DSi.
Wait, it can play 3DS games too?
Oh yeah.
Mine cannot.
It'll do 3DS and DS.
You might need to okay. Now I'm more interested.
That's what it says anyway. I've only used it for the 3DS and a GB. I've also it's got a GBA emulator and an NES emulator.
Okay.
On it, and then you have to it doesn't come with any ROMs for those, so you have to load your own with that. But
that's not a problem.
Yeah, it's got.
Because there's one stupid 3DS game I want to play, but I refuse to spend money on it. It's Kid Icarus Uprising.
Yeah.
I really want to play. Well, it's too expensive, and I heard it's garbage. So I don't want to spend all that money on a garbage game when I could.
Yeah.
Like, if Nintendo would sell it to me for $10, well, I would have picked it up. Nintendo will not.
No.
Even $20.
There's only one 3DS game worth of shit, and that's WarioWare Gold. WarioWare Gold, which has all of the WarioWare mini games, micro games.
Okay, that's
fantastic.
Yeah, WarioWare Touch was my second DS game purchase when I got a DS.
Besides Metroid, WarioWare is the only Nintendo IP that I consistently love. I think WarioWare is criminally underrated. But anyway, Castlevania.
I like WarioWare a lot.
I do too.
Sorry, I pulled out the DS Lite to look at the card, and I just realized that it has a Neo Geo emulator with a ton of Neo Geo games on it also.
And there's some good Neo Geo Pocket Color games, by the way.
Neo Geo Pocket Color.
No, this is full on Neo Geo like MVS.
Well,
not even Pocket.
Okay.
Find a pocket. See if you can get a Pocket one for that, and then play. What is that game called? Something Pocket Coon. You have it's like a little virtual pet, but your pet is a video game designer who designs video games when you make him happy. It's fantastic. So good.
We're going to go to questions, comments, or memories. I think we've exhausted what we can say about this game.
I think so.
I watched the entire Orbital Super replay group from Emmanuel Rodriguez, friend of the show. Put it on the Switch. Yeah, we've already talked about that. So from Sebastian Games, honestly, it has one of my favorite boss fights in the series with Whip's memory. Yeah, that is a great scene when you fight Richter.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it then and I enjoy it now.
That's a good fight. Yeah, it's a very good fight.
Yeah.
From Simeon Moore, never really played much of the Castlevania series, but I think I listened to the Retronauts episode ranking the 2D Vanias and got a dumb idea to play Portrait of Ruin. This was during COVID and Konami sucked, so I had to resort to buying a copy of this in Order of Ecclesia off eBay, but I got them. And man, Portrait of Ruin is a fantastic time. The dual switching mechanic works hella well, and it's really cool how enemies will react differently depending on who is the lead. There was even a boss fight that would charm Jonathan if he was the lead, and you'd be stuck as Charlotte fighting him and the actual boss. Pretty ingenious. The final boss, also doing a dual switch motif, was cool to see, even though the fight was aggravating. Only sour points were the anime portraits and having to go through the worlds a second time. From the official Laser Time community, from Dan Monroe. Of the portable era, this is my favorite. Wish I didn't sell it years back. That's when I told him other ways to play it. And from Kerry Chandler on the show. I'm looking forward to talking about it. I think it's the overall fourth favorite Castlevania game.
Yeah, still maintained.
From Mike Lanturi, this is probably my second favorite Metroidvania of the franchise, first being Area of Sorrow. Fun fact, this is also the first Castlevania I ever played that wasn't on the NES. From Raymond Fernandez, this and Order of Ecclesia are probably my two favorite portable Castlevanias. I know Arian Dawn of Sorrow exists and are great, but I just prefer the others. And from Will Castle, I actually just finished this for the first time a few weeks ago. It was a great playthrough. Really makes me hope for the day that Konami actually makes some real games again. Yeah, good luck with that. I just don't see it happening. And from Castlevania Realm, I got one comment from Victor Mariangelo. I love this Castlevania. It is so full of details and secrets. Every time I play it is a blast. The London portrait is so beautiful, and the real ending final boss is so awesome. And last group, Castlevania, from Cortland E. Dollars. How much of the styles is required for this? Nothing. Thank God. Absolutely nothing. And from Nick Assy, wish they had done more with the whole dual protagonist thing. As 90% it felt better just using whoever had the better weapon. Otherwise, a lot of fun, even if not super unique. From Young Annius, definitely one of my favorite games. They haven't done a dual style type Castlevania since then. Charlotte and Jonathan. To be fair, they barely done a Castlevania thing since then too. So
yeah, just
we
got one.
We got Order of Ecclesia, then we got Mirror of Fate years later, and then
that's right.
That's a good game, by the way. And then we got the two Lords of Shadows. That's it.
Yeah,
also good. Well, first one's good.
Those Lords of Shadows are decent.
Yeah, I really need to play those. I've never played any of those.
One is amazing. I've never played 2 yet, and I've been wanting to since it came out.
2 is interesting. I think 1 is better, but 2 is pretty fun.
2 got bad reviews, so then I waited to buy it. I own it on PC. I want to put it on the show, and I got to play 1, and I haven't. I don't know why I haven't done it yet. I keep doing other stuff, but it's on my list to get to. So, all right, from Brian Jacobson, the best of the DS Trilogy for sure. Strong. From Josh Anderson, wish they do a DS compilation. I'd love to play this again. Me too. From Brandon Pitts, the best Metroidvania, Castlevania, and I'll argue with anybody. I'm with you, man.
I will argue. Have him on the show, and I'll argue with him.
From Fitzgerald Grass, love the whole trilogy. I'm holding out to play this again. Konami got to release this eventually in a collection. All the other ones are done. Yeah, but Konami's not. From Aldo Spidja, I was a big portable Castlevania fan, but I stopped after Order of Ecclesia. Portrait Room was a great game with incredible replayability. I was pretty much completionist at the time and spent so many hours in boss rush mode, mastering every sub-weapon in the game. It is super repetitive. It was a fun story and likable characters. When I see my sibling and their partner, I still go, the young couple. So naive, to their amusement and their partner's confusion.
How are these people so wrong? If you're listening, how are you so wrong?
From Wayne Drenning, I like the idea of the painting and how it could take you outside the castle without actually being outside the castle. It brought infinite possibilities without losing the setting. From Jason Lewis, Portrait of Ruin is my favorite of the portable Castlevanias after Symphony of the Night. There's a very greatest hits feel to it, mixing and matching some of the best elements from previous games, and I love how you still get the castle, but also get to visit other locations as well. Really solid game. There's a couple more. From Iggy Cub, I love the animation when both Charlotte and Jonathan shout their crush combo. When you switch characters, the way they call each other. I hear their voices while I'm typing this comment. From Alexander Parker, heck yeah, best Metroidvania-style Castlevania.
Oh my God.
And last comment, Charles C. One of my top Castlevania picks. I just played through it again. Yeah, there you go. And how many do you disagree with, Colby?
Most of them. Except for the one that said it was repetitive.
And I have one code to give away as always. So let's grab, because I have too many damn Steam codes. I need to get rid of these. We are going to give a code away for Lost Words Beyond the Page. This is a Steam code. Code is 2VIXF4MTL30JFGD. That is your code for Lost Words Beyond the Page.
That's a decent game.
Never played it.
I played it. It was on Game Pass. It might still be, but it's okay.
All right. I bought so many Humble Bundles and I bought so many Fanaticals. And I'm like, I got to get rid of these codes. So.
Yeah, it seems like one of those that people might be like, I don't know if I want to play that, but check that one out.
What was the title again?
Lost Words Beyond the Page or something like that. I have it on Steam. I just never gotten around to it.
It's not anything you need to play immediately, but if somebody's like looking for something, or
somebody claims that code and it's like, okay,
I see.
Just like light and fun to play, you can do worse.
I just giving away free codes. I've had people actually, comment to me and go, "Thanks for the game." I'm like, "Hey, please enjoy it." Like,
that's nice. Yeah,
I already own it. That's why I'm giving away the code.
It's really beautiful.
Yeah,
I'm looking at the Steam page for it now. It's really
a 2D
beautiful.
side scroller.
Yeah.
Maybe I should play this. Actually, see, the problem is every game I play, something I have to record about it, so that's an issue.
Yeah.
Although Steam is like, "Are you sure this is relevant for you? This doesn't look like anything you've ever played before." That's what Steam says. But it's like, and then the more like this are games that I love. Celeste, Ori and the Blind Forest.
Ooh, and it's short too, 4.5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Is it kind of a Metroidvania or no?
No.
It doesn't look like it.
No.
But it does have like a really beautiful, like painting kind of look.
Yeah, and it's not super difficult. It's like a reasonable side scroller. It's like a reasonable platformer.
Yeah, looks neat.
All right, let's go to Shelf Stacker Box, and we'll get the positive out of the way. What about you, Mike?
You know what? I'm gonna box this. I don't need to ever play this again. It's again, if we were playing it in a vacuum, if this was the one of these that existed, I would be over the moon. But it's not. I can be playing any other Metroid or Castlevania or Bloodstained or Momodora, or there's so many of these style of games that I would rather play than this. I don't ever need to play this again.
And what about you, Kerry?
Well, I really loved it, but I'm going to put it in the stack because I don't see myself playing it again anytime in the near future. I mean, probably not for years. Like Michael said, really, like, even though I really liked it a lot more than him, it's still, there's so many other Metroidvanias to play that this one, it's going to be a long time before I feel a need to play this one again. Whereas Symphony of the Night, I'll play in between playing other Metroidvanias, so.
No, and that's fine.
Yeah. So it's a high bar though. I don't have time to just like replay a lot of games. So, but I like it. Yeah. I liked it a lot.
That's where I put Super Metroid. Super Metroid is my game that I play in between other games.
Yeah, makes sense. I do that one a good bit myself. So.
All right, I'll go last. I'm going to put this on the shelf. As I said in the top 10 Metroidvania episode, I'm pretty sure. Go listen and see if I'm right. I don't remember. I want to say this is my favorite Castlevania game. Metroidvania.
Yes. You definitely did say that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bloodstained is my favorite, I think, from what I remember.
Yes.
Yes. That sounds right.
So much. Oh, man. If I didn't do a podcast and I could just play games over and over again, I might go back to Bloodstained again because that game was hella good. But I don't have that ability, nor do I want to. So, but no, I love this game. I enjoyed it when I played it 6-7 years ago. I loved it again. Will I go back to it? Probably not. I probably won't play it the third time. I think I'm done. But there's other ones I need to play. There's other ones I need to cover in this podcast. So it was a great experience. I'm so glad to do it. And because of Mike complaining about it last time, we did it. So hey, the only reason why it happened is because you bitched about it. It's like, I want to see, and unfortunately, it was true.
Yeah.
Again.
And I mean.
Hey, it's nothing wrong with not liking the game. Yeah,
no, and I just have such mixed feelings on it because it is like if somebody is like playing, if somebody wants to play a good game, this is a good game. Like it's a fun game to play. It's just that the stuff that I like about these games is the weakest. But as far as playing the video game goes, it's a fun video game to play. So, like, I can see why most people would enjoy this one. Why it would be their favorite, that I don't understand. But I can understand why you would like it, for sure.
Me, the simpleness of it.
Yeah.
And I'm very much a sucker for when you don't make me have to learn a lot of things in a Metroidvania, and you just let me attack. When I played Bloodstained, I'm pretty sure I mostly attacked and didn't use a whole lot of spells either.
And I'm sort of that way in life. Like, we shop. The perfect example is we shop for groceries at Aldi's, and like we had to go to a real grocery store a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, this is horrible. Like, who needs 4 shelves of hot sauce? Like, Aldi's just says you either get the hot sauce or you don't, and I like that in real life.
That speaks to me so much. I literally today, we used to shop at Aldi when my son was real little, and then we stopped. And we've been shopping at HEB for years. And then I started going to Aldi, and because I did a price comparison, and it's so much cheaper. Mm-hmm. But there's a ton of stuff that we get that we can't get at Aldi that they don't carry.
Yeah.
So I have like once a month I go to HEB, and today was my once a month HEB trip. And it was just like, oh, I hate this so much. I hate everything. I hate, there's so many people. It's so crowded. And it's just like, it's too much. I want to go back to my simple Aldi.
And a trip to the real grocery store takes an hour and a half. A trip to Aldi's takes 20 minutes. You're in and out.
I love Aldi's.
Totally.
I was sad when mine closed for a while.
Well, you guys live in the Midwest, right?
Yes, I do.
I'm on the East Coast. Yeah.
Okay. See, I live down in Texas, so Aldi is like a special thing. There's one Aldi within like 100 miles of me, but it's like right next to my work. So, and meanwhile, HEB is a Texas only thing that's really nice. HEB is great, but it's expensive.
We have Cub, which is our grocery store, which is terribly expensive for no reason. I mean, they pay their employees good, so I'm really happy about that. But that, like, you don't have to.
So does Aldi, though.
Yeah,
break me over the coals.
Say
Aldi starts people at $15 an hour, like, so pretty awesome.
Yeah, and their checkers get to sit.
I'll say that's because they only have like 5 employees. So.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's just funny. That's a good analogy for it too. I get what you're saying.
That really is. Yeah. I appreciate that. I don't like going to. I go to Walmart and I go to Aldi's. That's all my grocery store shopping. I try to Aldi for fresh stuff, Walmart for other stuff. It's not a super Walmart, unfortunately. I just like Walmart. There's a couple of things. Luckily, our Walmart, our super Walmart, the one nice Walmart that we have near us is right next to the Aldi's. So if there's something we can't get at Aldi's, we just like run over. It's like, all right, well, let's get ourselves ready to go to Walmart to pick up, the 3 things that we can't get over at Aldi's. Anyway, this podcast is brought to you by Aldi's. I wish.
Yeah.
You can sponsor us, Aldi's.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
But it's a great comparison, to put the video game, like, you don't want a lot of choice. That is a wonderful comparison that the average person that would not be listening to this podcast would understand. I could explain that to my mother. Because I'm going to use a comparison I explained to my mother. You brought it up. I can't say this. I work in a sales job. Mm. And sometimes I think people think that you can put 100 fishermen at the pond, you're going to get, 100 times more fish, not understanding that the pond only has so many fish.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's any sales job, I think. Sometimes they think that. And that was my way to. I was trying to explain something to her, and she was just confused. I'm like, think of it this way: there's only so many fish in the pond, but if you get more fishermen, there's still only so many fish in the pond.
Yeah, yeah.
That was my way of comparing something.
That's a good one too. I like that one too.
All right. And Mike, where can people find you at?
You can find me not on social media, but you can check out my podcast, Jack Billings Presents Haunted Apartment Complex, which is a scripted absurdist comedy show where I play a ghost. Or you can listen to This Bizarre Adventure, which is myself, a JoJo newbie, and B. Highland, a incredibly talented voice actor, cosplayer, JoJo superfan, taking me through every episode of JoJo in order. And that one comes out a little bit sporadically because B is very, very busy. But when it does come out, it's always a delightful time.
Okay. And Kerry.
Hey, I'm on Twitch and YouTube as Karuseta, KEROOSCTA. I modify and repair video game consoles occasionally, but way more often I just turn on the stream button on whatever I'm currently playing. So lately it's mostly me and my son playing Apex Legends. I've been playing that game pretty much with him pretty much daily for the last 3 months. So I usually stream while we do. So yeah, that's about it.
Okay. And is your son still doing YouTube?
He hasn't made a video in at least a month.
Okay.
But I think he was getting a little stressed by I feel like he had to make content. I was like, just take some time off of it then. But he's NatureP_Dragon, NATROPY. If you want to check out his thing, send him a subscribe. He'll like that.
You'll see a link in the show notes to all the things that were just mentioned. And if you want to support the show, we have over 550 other episodes of this podcast on Podbean. If you want to listen to more of us talk, we've done not as much Castlevania as we should have done, but there's Castlevania. You'll see the link in the show notes of all the other Castlevania stuff we've done so far. But go on Podbean, search Star Wars, search Batman, search whatever. You never know, it might come up. We've done a lot of random shit. And to go back to what I was originally saying, if you want to support the show, we do a Patreon for Little Dog. You vote in our Patreon poll. We have one every month. So definitely go support the show. It changes. You get to affect something that's going to be on the show every month. So definitely go do that. We have a Discord. Please join our Discord. More people are starting to join. So it's wonderful. Please join. You'll see a link in the show notes. Chat with us. We need more people.
And then you can talk to us like Mike does while he's recording this podcast.
Only sometimes. But I did post earlier while we were recording. I commented on something. And you want to give a shout out to my awesome outro courtesy of Helena at Hell Hashfree. You can follow her on TikTok, Twitch, and Instagram. You will see a link to her link tree in the show notes. Definitely go check her out. And want to give a shout out to Gamer Looks at 40. Bill Tucker has been on the show many, many times. I'm sure you know who he is. Go check out his podcast. You never listened to it before. Great show. Much different than the show, but definitely go check him out. Check out Nomads of Fantasy, another podcast that I work with. And please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, TikTok, Blue Sky, YouTube, audio only, but we are on all those things. I think that's everything I need to say, so we will see you guys all next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.